Hello guys, welcome to Sociology Answer Writing session. So I'll be giving you a question here. It's a 20 marker and then I'll give you the structure also. So think about it and take a moment and then we can answer the questions and see whether it matches with your understanding and preparation, and then you can write the answer. Okay, so let me share the screen and I'll discuss with you the question. So I hope you can see the screen, and here is the question. The question is, A.R. Desai and Marxist sociologist viewed Indian society as a box of contradictions, and it is another contradiction that despite a huge proletariat population, Marxist understanding of Indian society is undervalued in India. So this is a statement and you need to discuss this. So what could be the structure here that you can follow? I'll give you the structure also, so you can look at the structure. So you need to talk about Marxist understanding of Indian society first, and then we will discuss why Indian society is viewed as box of contradictions as mentioned, and then whether the Marxist perspective is undervalued in India that we need to see, and then we will also discuss the proper conclusion. So introduction also we will be giving, that's a Marxist understanding of Indian society. So I hope you will be in a position to answer because we have discussed everything in the classes. So there is no need to have any confusion here to answer this particular question. So let's straight away get into the, solution, right? So what will be your introduction? So you can talk about Marxist perspective. So you can say Marxist perspective is rooted in the writings of Karl Marx, and that is emphasizing on dialectical relationship between material conditions and the social structures. And you will be underlining the dialectical relationship between material condition and social structure. And you can say in the Indian context, thinkers like A.R. Desai critiqued the traditional understanding of Indian society, highlighting its inherent contradictions. So basically Marxist perspective will be highlighting the inherent contradictions. So you need to underline that also. Despite a large proletariat population that we have and widespread inequalities, the Marxist understanding remains undervalued in India, and that raises questions about its relevance and limitations in a unique socio-cultural framework. Now we will, that's the introduction that you can give, and then you can talk about what is Marxist understanding of Indian society, right? So you can say Marxist sociology in India applies the fundamental principles of Marx, and that is focusing on historical materialism and class struggle. So when we talk about historical materialism, we talk about understanding of society and the evolutionary model, the evolution of society through changes in material conditions. Class struggle, the dialectical conflict between dominant and subordinate class in different stages of evolution. Guys, I hope all of you know these things, so that's why I'm not getting into the depth of it. So in India, this perspective gained prominence post-1917 Russian Revolution and found early expression in the nationalist freedom struggle as seen in the rise of Kisan unions and socialist movements. D.P. Mukherjee developed a Marxological approach, and A.R. Desai, often regarded as the father of Marxist sociology in India, he extended its application to the study of caste, class, and Indian nationalism. And you can also talk about key contribution. Caste as a class nexus. So that was highlighted by Kathleen Gough and Desai. Mention these names and talk about this. Kathleen Gough is again very important. And caste is analyzed as rooted in changing productive relations. We discussed this in detail, so I'm not getting into that. I'm just talking about the points that you need to capture here. Again, talk about the capitalist mode of production. British colonialism that introduced the capitalist structures that led to the marginalization of traditional occupations and communities. You know that very well. Contradictions in social structures. Desai's materialist interpretation basically criticized the functionalist view, right? That is offering a counter narrative to harmony in Indian society. So talk about the contradictions in social structure, and you can bring in the functionalist also in this context. Now the question is, why Indian society is viewed as a box of contradictions? So A.R. Desai characterized Indian society as box of contradictions, and he's countering G.S. Gurye's notion of complementarities. So there is no complementarities, it's all about contradictions according to Desai. So according to Desai, you can talk about certain elements, the caste system, religious movements, economic inequalities, nationalism and caste conflict, all these you can add, right? So when you talk about caste system, it's seen as an exploitative structure established through economic domination, where Aryan invaders destroyed primitive modes of production and institutionalized caste for social control. So you can elaborate upon that if required, but here that's not required. You just need to mention this. But you know this, right? Again, various religious movements, Jainism, Buddhism, often seen as reformist, were argued by Desai to have been assimilated into dominant Brahminical culture. So talk about that. And then economic inequalities. The transition to capitalism under the colonial rule exacerbated the disparities. So that is displacing the peasants and artisans while empowering feudal and industrial elites. So how the life of peasants and artisans ruined, especially after the Charter Act and everything you can talk about. And nationalism, class conflict. Indian nationalism, as per Desai, was less about liberation from colonial rule and more about transferring power to internal elites. So we already discussed about this separate session I have taken on this. So there is nothing to discuss more. So guys, these contradictions reveal the absence of harmony and highlight the layered complexities of class, caste, and power in Indian society. Now, the question is the Marxist perspective undervalued in India? See, despite its relevance, the Marxist perspective has remained undervalued in India due to several factors. You know that, we will be discussing that. So the relevance, we very clearly know till the time poverty, exploitation, inequality is there, Marxist perspective is relevant at any point of time, right? Whenever capitalism is there, Marxist perspective, exploitation will be there, inequality will be there, Marxist perspective is relevant. Now, why it is undervalued in India? Firstly, resistance to class analysis. The dominance of caste and religion that overshadows the class-based interpretation. You can talk about Jyoti Basu, right? Marxist analysis overlooked the specificity of caste. So Jyoti Basu noted that the Marxist analysis overlooked the specificity of caste in Indian society. Then cultural specificity. Critics like Andre Bethe argue that applying European Marxist model to Indian society oversimplifies its unique socio-cultural dynamics. So Indian society is unique in terms of religion, caste, and many other elements. The culture. So you cannot simply apply the European model of class setup to Indian system. Then the false consciousness concept, the persistence of caste, religion, and language-based divisions that undermines that class solidarity, that create barrier to Marxist mobilization. So our division is deep-rooted, not only in terms of class, but if you talk about European society, it will be only about class, and then there is a possibility of they can come together, right? So here that kind of solidarity won't come. Even if you are at a lower class, within that division is there in terms of religion, division is there in terms of caste, and then language, region, so much of divisions are there. So such kind of class solidarity may not be possible because within the lower class itself, then Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra comes within the lower class, they again create a division. Right, Hindu, Muslim will come, they create a division. North Indian, South Indian come, they create a division. Tamil, Malayalam comes, they create a division. So even within lower class, the possibility of that solidarity is that is not possible. Political marginalization. So the decline of Marxist political parties like CPI, CPM that reflect the limited traction of Marxist ideas in public consciousness. Then resistance from dominant groups. See, elites often resist the propagation of Marxist ideology to maintain existing hierarchies. So, see, these are the things that you can mention. But Marxist perspective found renewed relevance in the 1970s during the periods of economic crisis and social unrest. So, during 1947 to 70s, there was not much relevance. Why? Post-independence, the government is trying to focus on welfare and trying to fulfill the promises made during the freedom struggle. So we went for a lot of reforms, a lot of programs and plans, land reforms and many things. But over a period of time, it could not implement. It became a failure. Again, land reforms also did not implement it properly. Green Revolution again created problems. So again, relevance for a Marxist perspective, a critical analysis was required. So that's why post-1970s, it became again very relevant, and it influenced the movements such as the Dalit struggles, regionalism, and farmers' protests in the form of, that did not align strictly with classical Marxist class revolution, but still it is relevant. Now, how can I conclude this now? Guys, again, it depends on the question. Here, I have given you 20 marker. If it is 10 marker, again, you should be in a position to, consolidate it. So Indian society, with its unique history, culture, and institutions, defies simplistic explanations. So Marxist sociology offers valuable insight into power and inequality, but its universalistic framework must adapt to the Indian context where caste, ethnicity, religion, and all these intersect with class. So it's slightly difficult. The undervaluation of Marxist thought underscores the importance of plural perspectives in sociology in India, right? So you cannot understand Indian society only with the understanding of class. So that's how you need to take it. Diverse methodologies not only enrich our understanding of society, but also highlight the multifaceted nature of social phenomena, and that will ensure that the sociology remains a dynamic and inclusive discipline. So this is how you don't want to write this much of conclusion, but depends on your availability of space and time and your understanding of the topic. Write your conclusion. So guys, that's about the session. If you like the video, share it with your friends also. And in case if you're looking for mentorship, test series, or one-to-one discussion, or the course on sociology, check out the links in the description. The details are given over there. So thank you so much. See you in the next video.